Hello, my lovely peeps, and welcome to Lola's Mindset Reset, your podcast for your soul and personal growth. My name is Loreen, aka Lola, and my vision is to have a positive impact on many people's lives. Peeps, so nice that you're here, because today we are talking about setting boundaries. And yeah, it's so nice that you're taking some time to take a look inside yourself, to take time to analyze and improve your way to set boundaries, or even to learn from scratch, and to do a small check-in into yourself and let me support you a bit on your spiritual journey. And man, it's a tough topic, right? It's tough for me to set boundaries. And for the longest time I didn't even realize that I wasn't as good at it as I thought, and saying no in general is a big deal for me. And taking space for myself without feeling bad about it is a challenge, and maybe you can relate if you're a bit of a people pleaser as well. And as a people pleaser, you always try to make everyone happy, thinking that's the key to being loved and not getting excluded, and you believe staying quiet and not complaining and keeping your mouth shut is the way to go. So basically you're not standing up for yourself. And sure, it might work on the surface because you feel like you're in control and won't get excluded, but for our souls, for our growth and our inner happiness, it doesn't work. Because you can't grow if you're always hiding behind the fear of conflict. And you won't learn how to handle conflicts and improve your strategies or engage in constructive conflicts if you keep hiding. And just a little side note for my peeps that are really afraid of conflicts: most of the conflicts we fear either don't happen at all or turn out less intense than we thought. And today is about saying no to others and yes to yourself and to your needs. And it's about to stop worrying about whether others will be disappointed or what they might think about you, because most of those concerns never materialize. And it's not just about setting boundaries, it's about speaking up and not swallowing everything that doesn't sit right with you. So I would say, make yourself ready and let's start with our 7th episode about how to set healthy boundaries. Peeps, to start, one thing, especially as a woman, it annoys me a lot when men can voice their dislikes and say openly what they want and what they don't want, and it's totally okay, even admirable, everything fine. But for women, saying what they don't like can make them difficult, moody, dissatisfied, creating drama queens, whatever. But why is there still this kind of difference between the sex? Why is it judged and not respected and valued in the same way? I have the impression that women are still getting suppressed somehow because men are scared of our power and energy, and it's still like a huge ego thing, especially when we talk about a professional environment. And I feel that men feel offended and threatened by a woman being good at what she's doing, and when a woman is better in something. And actually, there are still happening a lot of murders because of that in this world. And it's so crazy that this is true. A few weeks ago, I talked to one of my best friends, and she's from Italy, and she was telling me that she heard about the murders that happen in Italy, where women are killed by their partners, boyfriends, whatever, because they had better grades in university or more success in their job. And that's unbelievable and scary, and so sad that in 2024 a young, successful woman needs to be scared because men feel offended by their success. And it made me sad that, strong, creative, intelligent, independent, wonderful women out there start to question their freedom, start to be scared, start to hold back their success, and stop to show up proudly because there are men out there with an ego problem, not able to look inside and heal and, go out to suppress women to feel better. And the thing is, it's just bullshit, because in most of the cases, we are not speaking up to offend anyone or to be better than someone. We are speaking up to get our fucking rights. We are speaking up because we deserve equal respect and acceptance, and we are giving our best in our jobs because we want to be treated equally and we want to be seen and valued in the same way. And that's it. That's it. And if you feel offended by a woman who is in her power and doing a great job, and even if she has better grades in university than you, if you feel offended, that's your problem. And you're not becoming better in what you are doing by trying to suppress her. And not everything is a competition out there. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and we could instead learn from each other and support each other, and in the end we will profit from each other. We just need a little bit more love and empathy and understanding and support, and way less jealousy and anger. It's nothing personal if a woman thrives in her energy and is good in what she's doing. Because we are partners, we are souls here on our planet, and we're in this together. There is no difference. And of course, it's not a stereotype. I know a lot of wonderful men that are supportive and loving, and especially in Berlin, I must say, I feel safe and seen and respected a lot. And I have wonderful male friends that are all open-minded, supportive, very reflected and tolerant, and it's wonderful, and I'm thankful, but I also know a lot of different stories, and I think it needs to be said that it's not okay and it needs to change. And I also know that men that are stuck in their ego and in these patterns that I described, they are suffering from limiting beliefs as well, and they're under pressure due to their environment, their parents, and so on, because these beliefs are coming from somewhere. And of course they're just souls that need to heal, but just because I know where it's coming from, it doesn't mean that their behavior is acceptable. Okay, let's get back to the topic. The message here is that everyone should learn to respect and handle each other's boundaries without taking it personally or getting offended just because a woman expresses her wants or dislikes or speaks up when someone clearly crosses a line. And my goal is that I want everyone to feel free to say no without feeling bad about it. And you should be able to express if something bothers you, or to speak up if someone crosses your boundaries, because it's your right and your responsibility. And what's not your responsibility is how the other person reacts. You're not responsible for other people's feelings as long as you communicate lovingly and respectfully. I'm not talking about like screaming, shouting, whatever, or insulting. I'm always talking about like a communication that is respectful. So we have already strong whys. Why is it important to set boundaries? But first and foremost is about staying true to yourself and having your own energy available instead of constantly letting others overstep your boundaries. And it's not about men are stepping over women's boundaries or something. It's like in general, if you're a man, if you're a woman, or diverse, doesn't matter. You deserve your boundaries. You deserve your energy available. You'll never feel truly at home if you don't set boundaries. And you need it, to confidently navigate through life and create the things that matter to you and to feel good and to be yourself. And setting boundaries is self-expression and helps create clarity in your relationships, in your interactions with others. Because if you don't set boundaries, people around you won't know any. And that's incredibly energy draining. It doesn't feel good for them either, because taking something that isn't theirs, in this case your energy, doesn't feel good. And in the end, setting boundaries is a win-win situation. You communicate what you want and don't want, and the other person gains clarity. And it's also about being as honest, authentic, and heart-connected as possible in life, and also in your interactions with people. And it's about being true to yourself and communicating in a way that creates the best possible situation for everyone. And it's about addressing things that are important to us, even though we are scared. And this could be in relationships, at work, with your boss, with colleagues, whoever. We often think, oh God, if I say this, how will the other person react? And then, a whole mental movie about a potential conflict starts playing, even though nothing would probably happen if we just honestly communicated what's important to us and what doesn't work. And of course, it has a lot to do with trust as well, because, trust in the other person, that you are allowed to set boundaries and they will still love you. They will still respect and accept you. But also trust in yourself, trust that setting boundaries is important for you, that you deserve your boundaries to be respected, and the confidence to handle potential conflicts that might arise, and stay true to your personal boundaries, even if it's getting difficult. And anyway, in my life, I've often said yes when I actually wanted to say no. I've let people take advantage of me, and I didn't speak up out of fear of exclusion or conflicts, even when it was right and important to talk about it. And I learned not talking about it isn't good for you or the other person, especially for those who truly care about you and love you. Because people who really love and respect you will respect your boundaries and actually want you to set them and appreciate it when you do so. And in this way, people can get to know you and understand why and what is important to you and how you feel. And like I said, if someone freaks out or a conflict arises, you can handle it. You're not responsible for other people's feelings, and people usually get upset when they benefit normally from you not setting boundaries. And of course, suddenly, when you do set them, you hear things like, oh, you've changed negatively, or you've become difficult, or whatever they might say. And of course, now that you're saying when something is too much for you, or when you don't want something, or you need more space, or whatever it is, and people cannot pressure you with guilt, they get mad. The fact is, people who want to benefit from you and don't care if you're feeling well or not shouldn't have a place in your life. They shouldn't be in your inner circle. Because those who really care about you, who truly love you and want you to be well, they appreciate it when you set boundaries. They value your well-being, and they want you to do things you truly want to do. And, they want you to feel comfortable. And this is more important to them than fulfilling their needs at any cost. Meanwhile, you're not complaining, But toxic people that get mad if you start setting boundaries are usually the people who, when they notice you want to decline or you're not interested in something, whatever, pressure you or make you feel guilty and try to talk you out of your boundaries, or making fun of them, or simply don't listen. Some even start arguments as emotional manipulation because they know you want to avoid conflicts and to make it just tough for you to stay consequent and consistent. And they will try to press your trigger points to make you feel bad about setting boundaries, and they can use these tactics to ensure you don't set boundaries. And, maybe you take a moment to think about whether there's someone in your circle who fits this description and if it's, long overdue to distance yourself. Where is it overdue to set a boundary? Where do I need my space? Where can I maybe not help you? In what kind of conversations do you not longer engage? This could be conversations where only negative things are said, constant complaining, gossiping, or just overall negativity. Where you want to say, nope, not up for that, not available. And, there are also people that always come to you with the same story to vent and dump their garbage on you, but never change anything in their lives. And, they seem to enjoy their misery somehow. And unfortunately, they either lack the strength to leave toxic or unhappy relationship, or change jobs or whatever it may be. And they keep sucking up your positive, helping energy to feel better. But they never make any changes. And you end up cleaning up their mess. And, they're coming and they're grazing your beautiful flowers from your garden and they leave. And it's not your job to shovel other people's crap. Maybe it's time to set a boundary and say, hey, I'd be happy to help you to find someone who can assist, but if it's always the same issue, maybe you could ask yourself if you want to change something. Ask this person directly, do you really want to change something? Because that can be a form of setting boundaries by redirecting the conversation. And if the person says, no, I don't want to change anything, you can say, okay, you've heard my advice 1,000,000 times, and it's okay if you don't want to change. But I'm not interested in these topics anymore, and I don't want this energy in my life. This doesn't mean you shouldn't be helpful or stop giving advice. And it's just about people who build their whole life around negativity, always complaining, always gossiping, and thriving on other people's positive energy like parasites. And here it's helpful to set a boundary because in the end, they recharge with all your positivity and you are left behind with all the garbage. And that's not fair, right? Yeah, setting boundaries is crucial in families as well. For example, clearly saying, no, I won't be there for this birthday. Or, no, this year will be with my partner's family, or stay at home with the kids for Christmas or something. And, to practice to live with the fact that someone might be not happy about your decision. But you're not here to make everyone else happy. You're here to make yourself happy and live a life of integrity. And don't give people the power about influencing your decisions about what's good for you and what you want to do by putting pressure on you or make you feel guilty. That's not the way. And you'll also realize that if people try to put pressure on you to make you doing things they would like you to do, at some point you don't enjoy spending time with them anymore because it's just forced. And the same in a partnership. Setting boundaries is super important, and demanding the space you need for yourself has more benefits as you might think now. I know it's difficult because it's easy to follow the other person or assume they find it annoying if you'd ask for your space or if you do something else or whatever. But especially in a partnership, these boundaries are essential because you reclaim your personal space for personal growth and independence, and you have time to focus on things that matter for you. And in the end, it helps you not to fall into a huge void, and huge emptiness in case of a breakup. Because taking time for yourself and having things in your life that are just yours creates a stable constant in your life, independent of your partnership. Because it existed before your partner, and it will continue to exist even if your partner is not there anymore. And it's something that is only yours, something you establish or create. It can be your own business or certain hobbies, friendships, or just time for yourself as a routine where you create your own inner haven for security and personal development. And it doesn't mean you're excluding your partner or you're doing only your own thing. It means you both have a shared life, but you each have your own areas that belong solely to you. Of course, in a way that doesn't hurt the other one. We don't want to harm anyone. Everything fine. But it's about building and maintaining a small, stable, constant world that is uniquely yours. And it can provide support in difficult times, independent of a partner. You have the right to take it and powerfully go through your life. And trust me, it makes you more admirable, even more admirable, not less, because you'll be admired for being in your power, communicating your boundaries, and be independent because you also have your own things going on. You don't have to be afraid. You can look forward to setting boundaries. Even though we were taught from a young age, especially as girls, that you always have to be nice, please everyone, not be rebellious, and that's not how a girl behaves, and so on. These beliefs, they don't serve us anymore. We still act like a little obedient girl, not standing up for ourselves because we might upset someone. Fuck it, who cares if they get offended? They don't know what's best for you, and if they are offended, apparently, they don't care about how you feel. And for me, I'm tired of constantly fulfilling others' expectations, often based on their own beliefs, and not having learned to look inward and understand why they expect things from others that they themselves don't like. No one enjoys constantly crossing their own boundaries or being a people pleaser. And sure, others might find it annoying at first because it feels like you're taking something away from them. But you're not taking anything away. You're just not making more energy available for them than you really want to give. And as I said, it's essential to have a supportive environment that encourages you to take your space. Okay, now what can you do to start setting boundaries? And in order to set boundaries, it's crucial to first look at what your values are. So what are your boundaries? To define them. Where are they coming from? Where are you still not setting enough boundaries at the moment? Where are you not addressing things out of fear of conflicts? Try to understand your own needs, your values, your limits, and reflect also on your past experiences and identify areas where you felt uncomfortable or where boundaries were crossed. So just try to start with identifying them and try to define them as well. Don't forget to consider emotional, physical, and time-related boundaries. And try to be very specific about what behaviors, actions, or situations are acceptable for you and situations that are not acceptable for you. And you can write them down as well to make it clear. And then you check to see if there are maybe beliefs holding you back from setting boundaries. So what do you believe about yourself? What do you think could happen if you set boundaries? And what are you exactly afraid of? Do you perhaps think that if you speak your truth, if you speak your mind, you'll be rejected or excluded? Or do you think if I set boundaries, I'll be alone or it will end in a conflict? Or if I address what bothers me, I'll be a drama queen or annoying or demanding? Or if I'm saying what bothers me, I won't be loved anymore, or maybe I'm not worthy of setting boundaries. Look at which of these beliefs is a major belief that's preventing you from setting boundaries. And maybe you can just take a pencil, I did it as well, and write these beliefs down, And once you figured out and all your beliefs are written on your paper that's in front of you, try to use an eraser to erase those beliefs and rewrite them. You could replace them, for example, with I am safe and nothing bad will happen when I set boundaries. Or I deserve to set boundaries. I deserve to have my boundaries respected. I deserve people who care about my boundaries and support me because they want me to be well. Or I will still be loved, maybe even more, when I'm setting boundaries because I'm authentic and honest and I'm giving people the chance to get to know me better. Or it's right and important to set boundaries. And of course, more, whatever beliefs feel good and right for you. And then you go out with your new beliefs and see where you finally want to set boundaries and where it's time to say, okay, it was nice before, but now it's over. I also recognize my part in how things have gone so far, but now I'm making a fresh start. And now you know that it's healthy, important, and right and completely okay to set boundaries. And you take that with you and see on an emotional level what feelings you associate with setting boundaries. Is it fear? Is it shame, mistrust, helplessness, or whatever feelings might come up? And then see which is the first feeling that comes up for you when you think about setting boundaries. And then you can see if you can symbolically communicate with your feeling and ask it, if it's fear, for example, why are you afraid of setting boundaries? And what are you defending me from? Against? What are you defending me against? And then try to transform the feeling of fear, if it's fear, it's just an example, by saying, hey, little fear, thanks for being here. I know you want to protect me and it's super nice. Thank you so much. You're important because you show me when someone crosses my boundaries. But from now on, what do you think about if we work together to change that and set boundaries together? Let your feeling now be there for you to support setting boundaries and try to transform the feeling so that it's no longer against you, but for you. And that you calm down and know, hey, I'm not alone. The feeling will alert me when my boundaries are crossed, and combined with my positive qualities, that could be courage, or for example, I don't have another idea. Let's say it's courage. And they help me to set boundaries. Because it's safe to set boundaries. And what's the worst thing that could happen? In the worst case scenario, the person will be mad. But let them be mad. Who cares? They calm down. Especially if you remain consistent and the other person realizes that you're not impressed by their reaction. Setting healthy boundaries is an expression of self-love and is important for your health. And whether someone gets mad or not, so what? Take back your energy and make yourself strong so you're like a magnet that retrieves all the energy that's stuck somewhere it doesn't belong. Everywhere you were putting and gifting your valuable energy to people that didn't appreciate and deserve it. And basically that's what you can do for yourself to find out where are my boundaries, what values are behind them, and where am I still not setting boundaries, where do I want to set boundaries, and above all, what beliefs and feelings are behind the fact that you're not setting boundaries and that you're working on transforming these beliefs and feelings. So this is like the first steps you can do. So you start with healing the things that stand behind it. And when you've worked on it like calmly for yourself with patience, you can try starting to set your boundaries. And what works for me best is to communicate in a quiet moment instead of just waiting for someone to cross your boundaries again. at least that's easier for me, to approach the other person and talk about situations in the past, for example, and talk about my boundaries and in that context about the future wishes I have. Because, yeah, it's a neutral and calm moment. The other person isn't in a heated mood, or, there's no conflict ongoing, and the other person is just more receptive and understanding, and maybe also more open-minded or more open to listen. So, yeah, open communication and respectful, loving, addressing of your issues. And I can also share, with you my small guideline on how to proceed. So what I'm doing to communicate it, that you can practice. So the best thing is choosing an appropriate time to discuss boundaries with your partner or your friend or sister, brother, family member, whoever, and ensure it's a calm and private setting, and very important, use I statements to express your feelings and your needs. For example, say more like, I feel uncomfortable when, rather than you always do this and that. So starting with you always do whatever is offensive, but if you is more descriptive if you start with I messages, let's say. And I'm trying to be very clear and direct and clearly communicate my boundaries, and avoid assuming your partner knows what you need. Use concrete examples to illustrate your boundaries and make them more tangible. And then it's crucial to express your feelings and to share the emotions associated with the boundaries you're setting. So you can also explain why these boundaries are important for you and for your well-being and the health of the relationship. So connect your boundaries with your feelings and your reasons why they are important for you. Yeah, and you can also establish consequences or explain and clearly communicate the consequences of crossing your boundaries and what does it mean for your relationship, that your partner understands the impact of their actions on the relationship. And it's also important that you're assertive in expressing your boundaries, firmly stand by them while maintaining a respectful tone, of course. We are always talking about being respectful, communicate lovingly, and trying to find a solution and a good way for our interactions and not making a fight, right? So be assertive, stand by them, but avoid apologizing for your boundaries or downplaying the importance of your boundaries. They are important, you deserve them, and you can, stand by them. And very important, encourage communication. Try to create an environment where open communication is valued, where it's a safe zone, and encourage your partner to share their boundaries as well, to foster mutual understanding and respect. And if you're asking your partner to share their boundaries as well, they will be even more open for the dialogue, and you should also actively listen to your partner's response and be open to their perspective, because it's about to find a solution and to validate their feelings and engage in a constructive dialogue to validate each other's feelings. And maybe you will also find mutual boundaries so that you establish together boundaries that work for both partners, and maybe you can even identify shared values and goals to create a foundation for mutual respect, so that you're having a shared safe space. And be consistent as well. Consistently enforce your boundaries, because it helps as well to establish trust and reinforces the importance of respecting limits. And don't make exceptions, that compromise your well-being, because setting boundaries is an act of self-care and it's not a rejection of the relationship. make clear that the boundaries are for you, and it doesn't mean that you reject your partner or the relationship or whatever. And, your partner should prioritize their own well-being as well through healthy boundaries. And you can also, from time to time, periodically revisit your boundaries to ensure they remain relevant. And you can also, adjust boundaries as the relationship evolves or as your needs change, and you can always talk again and, keep staying in communication. And if you feel that it's challenging, or if you're having issues that persist, you could also consider seeking guidance from a relationship counselor or a therapist. So seek professional help, because it can provide additional tools and strategies for effective communication and harmony. In general, setting boundaries is a continuous process that requires ongoing communication and mutual respect. And, healthy boundaries contribute to a balanced and fulfilling relationship where both partners need to thrive individually and as a couple. Yeah. As I said, it helps you as well to be independent and establish your independent little stable world that gives you safety in difficult situations. So we talked a lot. I talked a lot. And to sum it up a little bit, like to set boundaries. So we said, first check for yourself, what are your values, where do you want and need to set boundaries, and why didn't you set boundaries until now? Which beliefs and emotions could stand behind it, and try to transform beliefs about yourself and feelings you connect with setting boundaries, and then go into respectful communication and take decisions for the future of the relationship. And try to lose fear of conflicts, because remember, usually they don't appear, or if they appear, if they come, they are not as bad as you thought. Okay, my lovely friends, I hope that this episode helped you a bit, and with patience and time, it will get easier for you to set boundaries in your life, in your job, and in your relationships. And now I'm hoping you're having a wonderful day or night, and I'm sending you so much love, positive energy, and a big hug. Thank you so much for spending time together, and if you liked this episode, feel free to subscribe and recommend my podcast. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Lola's Mindset Reset. And peeps, stay true, set boundaries, love yourself, and as always, stay strong and move on. See you soon, Lola.